Good morning, folks, and welcome to our webinar, Hydrogen Exploring Opportunities in the Northern Ireland Energy Transition. Today, on the 11th of November, we have a great lineup of speakers, and as the title says, we're looking for engagement, we're looking to explore the opportunities, and that exploration is a two-way street. In all of our webinars, we like to keep things active and get the audience working with the presenters and making sure that the presenters are able to, whilst they can't visually see, they can engage with the audience. And that's what we're about. We have four great speakers, Mayor McCormack, Alexander Florestein, Dr. Patrick Nubbin, and Dr. Rory Monaghan. And they will be bringing you across that journey, identifying opportunities for the Northern Ireland Energy Strategy, and where hydrogen then can be part of that journey, can be part of that energy transition. As I said at the start, we like to engage with our audience. We like to make sure our audience are on their toes, making sure you're awake. Whilst it's 11:30, sometimes webinars can be very staid and very dead. There's a poll on your right-hand side. We'll ask you, the audience, to engage. What do you think is the greatest barrier to hydrogen deployment in Northern Ireland? Is it cost, regulatory or policy environment, lack of awareness, the safety issues, Brexit, or other? And if the other, you can give us a feedback on the chat. And this is literally to get a taste of how you, the audience, think. And as I said, it allows us to engage. In this new COVID-induced climate where we can't engage directly in live webinar or in live audiences, we're using the internet and using webinars to the best extent that we can. And whilst we can't see you, we want to engage and we want to get your feedback. We have over 250 people registered for today's event, which is fantastic. It shows the level of interest. And what we want now is to get your thoughts, and the team then will reflect on these as they go through their presentations and tailor their presentations to you, the audience. It's hard when we, as I said, we can't engage, but we want to use the internet to engage as best as possible. So if we look at the answers coming in there, cost and regulatory stroke policy environment, both at 30%, and slightly behind that is lack of awareness. But once Brexit doesn't seem to position itself or figure too prominently at only 1%. But as I said, we'll refer to these. We'll come back to these during the presentations, and Maeve, Alexander, Patrick and Rory will reflect on these as they give their presentations and tailor that to you, the audience, to give you what you need from the webinar. So importantly, let me stress again, it is a two-way street. It's how we then move that forward or how we then expedite that. So if we look at the final, we just closed the poll there, cost at 36%, regulatory environment 31%, lack of awareness 24% are the top three. And it's that cost of hydrogen deployment, and that can be tackled and that can be addressed during the presentation. A second poll for you. Again, just to keep you live and keep you engaged, what do you think is the greatest opportunity for Northern Ireland by hydrogen? How do you think Northern Ireland can benefit from it? Decarbonisation, energy security, economic growth and job creation, cheaper energy, or other? And the early runner in this race is decarbonisation, was coming in there nearly 100% with the first votes coming in. But have a look. What do you think is the greatest opportunity presented to Northern Ireland? Is it decarbonisation, energy security, economic growth and job creation, or cheaper energy? And that's again what we want to try and get the people's feedback and your feedback from that and your thoughts again, so that the webinar can be interactive. You walk away from it, you have taken something from it, and importantly, the speakers have taken something from it too, because it has to be a two-way street and where we want to engage. Decarbonisation at 63%, we'll give another 30 seconds just with the late votes coming in. Energy security at 19%. Economic growth and job creation, 15%. Even though the zero carbon economy, the Prime Minister Boris Johnson said 2 weeks ago, millions of jobs could be created in the new green economy, especially with the Green Deal and the different opportunities coming up from across all of Europe and the globe. Cheaper energy at 1% and other at 2%. So we'll finish the poll there, and clear winner there is decarbonisation is the greatest opportunity for Northern Ireland at 60%, and how hydrogen then can work on that. Folks, as I said, that's our introduction. You're now on your feet, you're engaged, and we want the presenters to be engaged too. What we do during our webinars is we have a chat function on the right-hand side. Use the chat, pose questions. If we don't get to all the questions or don't get to answer them all during the webinar, we will answer them then through the feedback, through all the emails and through the GenCom website. We want this to be, as I said, informative and to be both reflective and feeding back to the speakers. Our agenda is, the first is introduction from myself. I'm Paul McCormack, the Belfast Metropolitan College and Innovation Manager there and the Project Coordinator in GenCom. Maeve Cormack and then will give the Northern Ireland energy policy perspective, and Maeve is with the Department of the Economy. Alexander Florenstein from Hydrogen Europe will talk about hydrogen's role in the EU plans for energy transition. Dr. Patrick Nubbin from the New Energy Coalition in the Netherlands will talk about the vision and progress to date of the Heaven project. And Dr. Roy Monaghan from the National University of Ireland in Galway will talk about hydrogen, exploring opportunities in the Northern Ireland energy transition, the focus of today's webinar. Northern Ireland and energy opportunity must include hydrogen, will include hydrogen, but how much, how little, it's going to be seen as part of that decarbonised energy mix. If you look at that second poll, 68% of you thought the best opportunity for Northern Ireland is to decarbonise. In this webinar, we have a high-level overview of the opportunities for Northern Ireland within the European context and how we help develop the national approaches to that development. Out of this, we want to produce a value chain in which renewable power and water acts as the only inputs to produce hydrogen, which in turn serves as an energy carrier or the raw material for different multiple applications. That P2X, power to X applications, power to question mark, be it in heat, be it in transport, or be it in other industrial uses where we can decarbonise the whole supply chain. That value chain will be scalable and replicable across communities, giving communities that energy security and that opportunity. That opportunity from renewable sources allows a greater impact and greater integration of wind, wave, solar, bio, and all other renewables into the grid to be able to use a greater percentage of renewables in our energy footprint, to reduce that CO2 and to bring us in line with the Paris Agreement of 2015 to help meet those targets. How we look at the risks and the non-renewable sources can be addressed for that. Hydrogen as an energy vector is how we use hydrogen in the energy equation. How we move from our dependence on fossil fuels, hydrocarbon-based economy to a green economy. There will be a transition. That's exactly as the title says. It's Northern Ireland energy transition. It's not going to go from fossil fuel to green overnight. There will be a period of change, a period of progress where different energy vectors come in, and hydrogen will be one of those. Those energy carriers have been identified to enable a solution to decarbonise our footprint. Hydrogen is one of those key energy carriers. It has the potential to be a main energy carrier of the future. There will be no one size fits all. There will be a hybrid of energy solutions. If you look at transport, it's not going to be all hydrogen or all electric. There'll be that mix for different needs, different uses. And how we then can integrate all of those across the supply chain and energy chain in Northern Ireland, and where hydrogen plays its part. Hydrogen is a game-changing technology. It has extensive applications across all of our supply chain, transport, power, and beyond. It enables us, it enables the Northern Ireland economy to look beyond the fossil fuel to that green footprint, to meet all of our CO2 emission targets, and at the same time gain additional benefits with a growing zero carbon economy sector and a growing opportunity for jobs growth. And as an energy carrier, hydrogen has a significant role in energy security. We're not at the end of a pipe, we're at the start of a pipe, and how hydrogen now provides that energy security. The case for storage, if we look at renewables there, when they're not needed, they're wasted. Because you need to find some way of utilising that power when the grid doesn't need it or the user doesn't need it. And you'll all know that renewables will not perform when we need them, so we've got to find a buffer. So if it's windy at all at night time, there's no demand for electricity, we've got to find a buffer to use that. And importantly, how we maximise those lost revenues, how we sweat the assets to make that better. We can store that using hydrogen. Hydrogen as an energy vector to store the renewables, the curtailed wind, the curtailed solar and bio, to use that as an energy buffer. And that buffer then be used as a green energy source for heating, for transport, or for maximising the grid. So there's opportunities there to utilise the energy storage to maximise the benefits. Northern Ireland has an opportunity to take a lead in the global hydrogen economy. The project we lead in Belfast Met with the lead partner of Energia is the GenCom project, 9.36 million awarded from the EU Interreg Northwest Europe. We have significant footprint all across Europe, And importantly, we've ensured that Northern Ireland is ahead of the renewable energy curve and ahead of the hydrogen curve. We're making sure that Northern Ireland is best positioned with all our partners, internal, external, and all the other projects across Northern Ireland, where all renewables onshore and offshore can now be part of that energy mix, can now be captured and use that green opportunity for green growth and reducing our CO2. We have a small animation here, and Joanna will play that, and it gives you a 3-minute overview and a capture of what the GenCom project is. Can you go ahead, Joanna, please? So I think our video has cut short there. Some of our technical problems. Then we'll pull up the next slide. So apologies if you missed that. But folks, all of the presentations from today, all of the recordings from today will be issued and sent out to all the attendees and that have registered on our list. And the link will include the animation for the GenCom. As the animation showed, we have 3 pilot plants. GenCom is a hybrid of different scales, different sizes, and different uses of green hydrogen from renewables, from bio, from onshore wind, and from solar. That is the GenCom footprint is looking to develop that. Importantly, the largest GenCom project is in Northern Ireland, run by Energia, and it's linking the electrolyser to their wind farm to provide hydrogen for transport and industrial use, and will be powering the bus trials with TransLink in Belfast in the start of the new year. There are other opportunities in renewables such as offshore and tidal and wave that can be captured then also in that mix. But as we said, it's that hybrid mix that's going to transition Northern Ireland, as it is transitioning Europe, to a new hydrogen renewables. That's the new title where we're looking at clean green hydrogen from renewables and how we can open the grid to accept that, and using the other energy grids, such as the gas network, for distribution, not just our power cables, but there's a modern gas network that can be captured and utilised for that, to make sure that we're well positioned and making sure that everybody can make that transition. And as we were talking earlier on, it's bringing partners with us. As Professor John Barry in Queen's would say, it's making that just transition, where everybody is brought, not pushed, and everybody then makes that clean transition across, and hydrogen renewables playing part of that.